Hi, and welcome to our live announcement of the 477 Design Awards winners in the DIY category. I'm the jury captain, Becky Stern. I'm the director of wearable electronics at Adafruit Industries, and I'll let the rest of the jurors introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Hackett. I'm the director of the Madagascar Institute in Combine in Brooklyn, New York. I'm also on TV, most recently with Stuck with Hackett on the Science Channel, and I teach in honorees.
Hi, I'm Yury Gitman. I'm a toy inventor and founder of Banana Design Lab. I'm also adjunct faculty at the Parsons School of Design. I teach toy design and physical computing there.
And I'm Faludi. I help people make amazing things with wireless radios for Digi International. I also teach interaction design at NYU's ITP program and the SVA interaction design program.
So all very qualified to judge your DIY entries. Let's talk a little bit about our judging process and the entries we got.
Great.
We met up and went through a giant stack of really fun entries and had a really fun time going through all of the projects. Yury, do you want to describe what you look for in a DIY project?
Well, I wanted to own it, and I could be able to make it. That was probably the first kind of stuff. I think it had to look interesting. I mean, it had to look cool.
The thing that I looked for in them was like, oh, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, I think that disappointed that you didn't invent it yourself was always a sure sign that it was something interesting. And then we're very interested in documentation and the ability to share what you've made. That's one of the most important parts of DIY is really the ability to go and for a third party to build it themselves.
So we looked a lot for that, for projects that were replicable by the audience at hand and people who really considered their audience as a person who might build their object. It's one of our core criteria. And we will go through our notable entries, then the runners-up, and then announce the winner at the end. Sounds good?
Yes. Sounds good.
Okay. So in no particular order, the first notable we'd like to talk about is the audio jar by Sarah Pease from the Rhode Island School of Design. Yeah, me and Yury were really into this one, so we'll describe the project to you if you haven't seen them already. The audio jar is an open source speaker electronics design that Sarah took and put inside some mason jars to make some really beautiful, homey looking, see-through speakers for your laptop.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we liked the design because you could see the electronics inside, so it was like curious. You could see how it was made, and the sound. It looked like this. We didn't hear them, but it sounded like the sound would come out really well on it. Come out really well on them. So it was like the whole aesthetics and the form and the function mixed together, and the open source electronics of the speaker invited people to make different enclosures for it. So we liked how she took that invitation and made a really, really engaging enclosure for it.
That was great. You want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, so the next notable is the Umbrella Cage by, I'm mispronouncing it, Jeong-Hai Hong and Yusung Lee from the Digital Media Design Department at Hackett University in Seoul, Korea. Okay, this idea, one thing I liked about this is that it was taking something that you see all the time. New York City, after a rainstorm, you see broken umbrellas everywhere. They litter the street. They're like leaves would be in a city with trees. It is a common piece of trash, and everyone looks at them and thinks like, wow, I wonder if you could do anything with those. And these people did do that. They took those busted up umbrellas and they made a cage for your bird. So I guess if you want to take your bird for a walk, you can just walk around with a busted up umbrella turned into a gorgeous cage with your bird in it.
That was really fun.
Yeah, fun.
Reused. Whimsical, because if you saw somebody walking their bird down the street in this thing, you would recognize that it was made from a broken umbrella. It still looked enough like pieces of an umbrella, but it also is just a really clever way to tote your beautiful bird around. So it's a nice object of curiosity.
And kind of a radical transformation that helps you think about other objects in your world with the baby turned into. That's a big part of DIY as well. So we thought they did a really great job of that.
And also, birds hate leashes.
Yury, you want to do the next one?
Sure. Okay, the next project was the personal light torch by Vikram Nabi and Che.
can you just describe the project?
Okay. Yeah, this was like a personal torch project that
like a flat pack flashlight.
Right.
So it was like a piece of plastic that was cut and perforated in such a way that you could fold it up together to form the body of a flashlight, and then the batteries would go into the handle and form like the heavy handle, and you could attach a little bulb. So you, in the process of making it, you find out how the flashlight works, by how the batteries are connected to the light bulb, and also then it's stored flat for transport, and then all of a sudden becomes a flashlight.
Right. So it's actually another kind of remarkable transformation where you take one thing and it's actually turned into another really pretty unexpected result.
I thought it was just like a useful and fun thing to make. And he was in India, so like getting flashlights out to people who might need that would be really easy if they're just a flat piece of plastic and then like a couple batteries you can find around.
Mm-hmm. Really creative, fun idea. So the next one is the automated ironing system, and that's by Nigel Roddy from Randwick, Australia. This one was just a lot of fun, I think, both because it solves a problem that we all have, which is ironing. I'm sure there are people who think ironing is terrific. I'm not one of them. I'm also not very good at it. And this brought the promise of easy ironing with this amazingly whimsical blower system that inflated the shirt or garment and then dried it as it was inflated. So it was a lot of fun to watch, and we had a terrific video of it as well.
And I think unlike a lot of other DIY people, where I own a couple of irons, but I've never used them to iron clothing. You know, you use them to heat press something or to transfer onto a circuit board, something like that. But I only know dimly how I would iron a shirt if I needed to iron a shirt.
Yeah, it was like the ultimate bachelor ironing system. It was like made out of car parts, and you just wanted to use it and see it and own it.
Yeah, I like that it was made out of car parts. That to me was great because like you're going through the junkyard and the clothing's all wrinkled. Man, how do I look sharp in the junkyard? Solution. One thing that kind of worked against this to us is that it looked too pro.
So this guy Nigel, he used like a blower that was like a car part, and then he made his own vacuum former and vacuum formed a plastic shell for the blower. And so like that vacuum formed shell and the way he presented it was so pro that we were like, what? Is this a DIY thing? Like it looked really, really good.
It looked like an awesome consumer product instead of DIY, which might be unfair to him that it was too good to impress the DIY people. But maybe it's because we looked at it, it's like, wow, that's awesome. I couldn't do that. That's too pretty. But at any rate, a great, well thought out project.
And you got it immediately. Like it looked like one of those at a used car lot, you see those like inflatable long tube things. It looks kind of like one of those. So it's whimsical to look at, but it's also got like a t-shirt on it. So you immediately know what it's doing. And yeah, the bachelor's here. It's really like I iron my clothes. Yeah. Okay, moving along. You did one already. Yeah, you did that one.
I did one, but I also wrote about this one. So,
okay, you want to talk about that?
Sure. So the next one was a project called Coronado, and it was by Hyun-Peng Ong from UCLA, so out of Los Angeles. And it was this sound installation. And he had been fascinated by the ocean. He had taken a trip to the ocean and just loved the sound and the experience that he had there. And he wanted to recreate that. And he'd done it in a very ingenious way. And I think the organic nature is really what captivated me about this. Is he had taken kind of this pan and some, I think, steel balls that were rolling around in it, and some motors, and had amplified the sounds that they made. So rocking back and forth, it kind of looks like the ocean, and then it made this wonderful kind of whooshing sound that was very similar to the way the ocean crashing sound of the surf is. And then he had processed that, and it came out on a number of speakers. So this great kind of sensual, interactive sculpture.
This is some open source software, right, for processing his audio?
That's right. Yeah. So I think he was using Pure Data PD, I believe, to process the audio, and Arduino and some other very common open source tools. So there's a lot of open source going in, and hopefully some instructions soon to be published coming out.
You can also see a large portion of the mechanism was like on the outside of this square tray that was shifting back and forth. So you could kind of see how it was shifting just in the way it was built. It wasn't all enclosed.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it looked like something that someone else could do and figure out about, and nothing was being hidden. And I think that can be an important part of doing something yourself as well.
So the next project that I thought was notable, and I'm a huge fan of this one, was Walk Raleigh by Matt Tomasulo and City Fabric for the greater Raleigh community and out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, what this project is that in Raleigh, North Carolina, a city I've never been to, but I imagine it's like a lot of American cities, and that when you go there, if you're not familiar with the area, even if you are familiar with the area, you really don't know how far away things are if you're going to walk. You think of Raleigh, like a lot of places, as being a city that you drive from one place to another. And in most cases, that's all that people do. But you miss out on a city if you're just driving from one place to another. Mm-hmm. So what this project did is that at various points in Raleigh, they just put up little signs that said that the zoo, 15-minute walk that way. And there was a QR code that you could scan and pull up a map. So on your smartphone, you could see the actual route, like a nice walk to get over there. And just little signposts like that. One thing, I like a bunch of things about this project. One thing that I really like is that most of the other DIY stuff is a DIY product, an actual discrete physical thing that you can make yourself. This is a DIY idea. It's mostly conceptual. It is a way of looking at the place that you already are, the place that you know well, in my case it would be Brooklyn, and recontextualizing that so that people can suddenly do something themselves. They can take control of the place that they're in and walk through it, like really get to experience the landscape, experience wherever they are. I think it's an excellent idea. Like if I was to roll into Raleigh and I have like a couple of hours to kill, I have no idea how to get from one place to another. Google Maps walking is still in beta. I don't know if I'm going to have to cross a highway or whatever. I see these signs. I'm like, okay, I've got a half hour to kill. I'll walk over and check out the zoo. Otherwise, I have no idea how far away it is. So it's taking the familiar and recontextualizing it in such a way that, it's a new way of presenting a pre-existing idea. And I like that aspect of the DIY as opposed to just making it.
Right. Yeah. Another great transformation, and that probably is a good segue into talking about our first runner-up. I don't know if you want to go through and do the announcement. So those were all the notable projects.
They were all great. We really liked looking at them.
Yeah.
And if you were watching and you made one of those projects, congratulations. We liked your project.
Yeah, we think you're cool.
Yeah. We're going to rip off your ideas without attribution and call them our own. Well, no.
Okay. Yury, do you want to announce
right now with a bunch of songs?
Yury's going to announce the first runner-up.
The first runner-up was Project Re, and this was
so this is by Samuel Bernier,
and this was basically like a series of home goods that were 3D printed, and Samuel shared the designs. Other people could print them. And I was actually a really big fan of these series of home goods. I thought they were just so beautifully done, and they were shared. And what we were kind of talking about when we were reviewing all this stuff is that a lot of people share software. There's a lot of open source software and a lot of open source electronics hardware, but the design community is very slow to get on board of sharing designs.
3D design.
Like plastic enclosures. I had to teach myself how to make a battery enclosure out of plastic years ago. And it's just kind of this ridiculous thing because the people remake it constantly. So what I kind of love to see is really, really good industrial design shared. And people, it felt like it was kind of taking advancing the art of 3D printing, advancing the art of open source design.
So some of the things that were in this set. So like we've all seen a lot of 3D printed plastic crap. Mm-hmm. And usually we think, oh, it's a 3D printed piece of crap. But we like this project because it took 3D printed objects that could be a piece of crap, combined with other pieces of garbage and made really cool housewares. So like one of them is a juicer, 3D printed juicer shape that fits on top of a mason jar, or a dumbbell handle that connects two cans of beans together. Or an hourglass made from two bottles with a 3D printed joint. So the careful consideration for the trash that we commonly have around and its measurements, and then this guy designed pieces that fit onto that common trash to make like
Right. Instead of recycling, instead of upcycling of things that you have lying around. And I think that one thing that struck all of us is that a lot of 3D printed stuff just look like crap, right? Mm-hmm. All of these things look gorgeous. They were just simple and beautiful and elegant. They all look like they could be in the MoMA design store tomorrow.
Right. So this great intersection of really good design, upcycling, so taking 3D printed plastic rather than making more objects in a world that doesn't need any more objects. It was actually taking some of the objects and making them useful again with these 3D designs as kind of being the intersection. And then terrific sharing. All of the designs were shared in part of the system that anyone could use and add on to. So really the three of the things I think that we look for in a DIY design competition were all present here. We should probably move on to the next one as well.
However, as good as it was not good enough.
The two runners-up are on the same level as each other, so there's one more place.
But there's still a winner ahead. So the next runner-up was Diweyer by Pensa from here in Brooklyn, New York. What this is basically a way of, like a 3D printer makes a 3D object, right?
Yes.
Like 3 dimensions. This takes wire and bends it to the stuff. So it's really kind of making just the 2 dimensions of wire and making things, which might not seem like much, but
you can rotate it so that it goes in the 3rd dimension.
But I know personally from experience that a lot of times if you want to make armatures for something that you want to build up, you want to make hangers, you want to make custom camshafts, there are all these different things that you need to bend out of wire. The usual solution is that you have a vise and you're doing it, but you usually get the spacing and timing wrong, and hard to make 2 things that are exactly the same, or you make super complicated jigs to go from one thing to the other. It's just annoying and frustrating. This is a tool that gets rid of all of that.
Right. So what it is like a little arm, and there's a spool of wire at one end, and it feeds the wire down this path that's where it's gripped onto, and then at the end there's a rotating mechanism that, according to the design that's programmed into the machine, will extrude the wire out and then bend it at the right points and turn the motor around to bend it in 3 dimensions. You can make like almost any shape out of wire. And the whole machine is open source, so you can look at their plans for their wire bender and make your own wire bender. Their documentation was fantastic. The video is very cute.
And they made basically a robot out of scraps that actually does something useful, used a bunch of open source in it, and then open sourced their whole design. So really top-notch sharing. And it looks like something that I could easily use. I mean, I know that wire bending or metal work is hard. Hackett's great at metal work. And even he's telling you that this is a tough thing to do. But it also allows you to replicate. So you could share your design. So a design that you made, I could make 60 of them just by running it through the computer and out of this machine. So a terrific tool.
Yeah, and as far as tools go, there are tons of models and designs out there for DIY CNC plasma cutters, CNC mills, shopbots, things like that. This is the first one I've ever seen specifically for bending wire.
Right, and it makes you...
Yeah, it was like a new species of tools.
Right.
Basically.
Right, which makes you think about looking around at tools. What other things could be automated with the computer in a way that's really useful?
Yeah. So I can't wait to build my own DIY bender. All right, are you guys ready for the winner?
I'm ready for the winner. Who did we pick?
When we were judging, we were like putting things into piles. Like, this one's definitely not going to win. This one is, maybe we should look at it further. And like, this pile is for the clearly awesome one. And we would each like pass them around. And the winner entry, like each of us, when we got to look at it, we were just like, oh yeah, that goes in the winner category.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was like a competition for second place after we came upon the winner today. Almost just like, okay, yeah, that's clearly the best thing in the world.
Okay, so congratulations to Brian Chan for his laser cut folding ukulele kit. You are the winner of the DIY category. Yay.
And basically,
so
all
it is
you
what
need
it
to
sounds
say
like.
is laser cut folding ukulele
it's
kit.
all in the title.
Yeah.
Laser cut folding ukulele kit. So it's a ukulele that is playable and it plays. It sounds great. The neck folds up so you into the body, so you can take it with you. Portable ukulele, tunes on the road. And the entire thing is made out of laser cut parts, so it's all flat pieces of wood, and then you add the strings to it. And then the documentation, not only did he release the design, like the laser files, these are the files you cut on the laser, but then the diagrams for assembly were just incredible. Really, really amazing. Like, it's a really complicated thing, and we all felt like from those drawings we could probably build one ourselves pretty easily.
Right. I felt like there would be no challenge in building my own ukulele, folding it, or transporting it. I would still be faced with the challenge of playing the ukulele, but that was it.
Yeah, when he played the ukulele, I mean, we were also like, well, how does it sound, right? And then when he played it, it was beautiful. The sound was beautiful. Every note rendered like an instrument that didn't fold up, like a really delayed.
Right. And the thing is, it just looked like pure awesome. It was well designed and just like a cool box. Suddenly, ukulele, which I'm often anti ukulele in general, but this specific thing is making me more pro ukulele.
We really liked that one. We thought it really stood out.
Yeah. Excellent project. Good job.
We're turning you into a ukulele liberal, aren't we?
Still an anti-accordion. So next challenge.
So yeah, we thought that project was fantastic, and it's true. There was a real hot competition for the two runner-up spots because we liked so many of the notables. So we feel like we made the right choice, but it was a really tough one.
So overall, we had a really good time. Congratulations to all of you winners and notables and everyone else who participated. And so that's us, the DIY jury, signing out from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, bye.